Welcome back to All Fox Racing PlayStation. Welcome back to the World Prototype Sprint Championship with the Audi R8 LMP 900. This is still round 2. Look at that beautiful car, and we continue to be at the Silverstone Grand Prix Loop. George Zouge dominated race 1, and this is of course race 2. He's again on pole position alongside Kevin, followed by Darren Head and Delphi Moore on 3rd row. It's Rob Oldham and Diogo Silva 4th row. Peter Adrian and Simon Allen 5th row. Gonçalo Mota and Diogo Almeida 6th row. In 11th place it's Andrew Dalby, followed by John Scott. And on the last row it's Sid Waters and Scott Davely. Not usual to see Scott Davely at the back of the grid, but he surely will recover some places to the front. And look at this, what a start by everyone, and George Zouge seems to be has a good start, and someone is already off the track there and spinning. Ooh, is there going to be contact? I don't. Well, two cars got together, but I don't think anyone else was involved. This is the replay of the incident. Let's see what happens. This is from Diogo Silva. Look at Delphi Moore. What a start by Delphi Moore, almost getting the lead of the race. This is Diogo Silva and another driver got together, almost connected, but then Diogo recovering to 5th place. Look at Kevin almost losing it, just like in race 1, but they all behave very nicely there in this very tight section at Silverstone. But George Zouge is already a few car lengths ahead of Delphi Moore. Look at Diogo Silva trying to get a position. I believe it's from Simon Allen. This is the replay from Rob Oldham. And was it him that connected with Diogo Silva? Ooh, it's a three-way connection there. And and there was contact with another driver there. Rob Oldham did spin. Peter Adrian is involved in it, and some other drivers. Well, number 6, I can't figure out who that is. That is, I believe, Sid Waters. Let's look at this from John Scott's perspective. I think the 3 cars just connected slightly, as I'm not very sure who ran into whom. That's John Scott, who is going to escape nicely there. Up into 9th place goes John Scott. Well, just a little bit tight there at the start between Rob Oldham and Diogo Silva, and I believe another driver could be Peter Adrian or Sid Waters. I couldn't quite see who was the 3rd car involved. Certainly we saw Peter the wrong way around, and he probably lost a little bit of time. Look at these several drivers there running wide, but John Scott is now in a good position to get another place here on the inside, but not quite. Let's look at Scott Davely. He's 14th and last at the start, and let's look at his view of turn 1. Look at these 3 drivers there. A little bit too tight for three side by side there, and Scott taking it easy. Oh, and it is Scott. Oh, it was Scott Davely who was involved in there. Scott Davely, as well as Peter Adrian and Rob Oldham. And Scott, well, amazingly, Scott did improve 1 position because Peter Adrian lost more time. No, he didn't. Peter Adrian up into 13th spot. This is from Gonçalo Mota. And let's have a closer look at the lines as Diogo Silva is going to move to the left, well, slightly. But then these 3 drivers were just trying to go 3 wide, and they were not even using the full track. Look at Gonçalo Mota runs wide in turn 1, but in 7th place now, as Diogo Silva takes the line there up into 6th. Gonçalo down into 7th. Now on the inside of Diogo Silva, then the nice battles there between Kevin as well, and Simon Allen 4th and 5th. Darren Head in 3rd. Look at Delphi Moore as start. I wonder if we'll get a replay of Delphi Mora's start, which looked incredible, and he's up into 2nd place, and unfortunately already a second, 1.1 seconds behind George Zouge, as Gonçalo Mota continues to work on Diogo Silva. Oh, and contact between the 2 drivers there, and also look at this. Darren Head is losing steam. And here comes Kevin on the outside of Copse. Is not a great overtaking spot on the outside, and Darren is protecting the line. Oh, and contact between the 2 drivers. They still run through Copse corner. Look at this. Simon Allen is very wide in Copse corner, and well. A lot of action on the first lap, but still within the boundaries of the acceptable. We did have that incident between Diogo Silva, Rob Oldham, and I believe Peter Adrian and Scott Davely as well, Well, they are. Three of them are in the last three spots of this race. Up into 11th is Sid Waters. Andrew Dalby up into the top 10. Diogo Almeida 9. John Scott has had a great start and he's in 8th place. 7th is Gonçalo Mota, but who is going to lead the opening lap? It's the man that has led every lap of race 1, and that is Jorge Jesus, who leads like a boss here at Silverstone, followed by Delphi Mora, followed by Darren Head, followed by Kev Allen. Simon Allen in 5th, Diogo Silva 6th, 7th is Gonçalo Mota, and Gonçalo is, look at this, Gonçalo running very wide there. Oh, and then spins, and someone has spun there, that's Gonçalo Mota, and that's a big spin. Reset button, and it was a big hit. Look at this, his rear wing is, did he have any help? No, he just clipped the curb, runs wide, now tries to correct, and now he's an absolute passenger and he's going in reverse at like 100 miles an hour into the barrier. The reset button is somewhat dangerous because it comes almost in the racing line, and one thing we have not replay of this surely, because this is the race leader and the driver that has led every lap just makes a mistake. He's a bit of a half spin. He tries to come back into the racing line, but of course Delphi Moore is already there. And now is he going to spin again? Yes, he is, and this is a disaster for Jorge Jesus because he's now cannot press the reset button. Cars are too close, and he drops to 9th place, and he's got a lot of work to do. Jorge Jesus, oh God, Jorge Jesus he has made a huge mistake and is down into 9th spot. Andrew Dalby actually making a move there on Diogo Almeida. This is the battle now for 7th, and Andrew Dalby, very nice first stint of this race. Let's see where he can go, but Rob Oldham in 11th place, trying to get closer to Sid Waters, who was in 11th just now. Oh, it was Gonçalo Mota. Gonçalo Mota has dropped to 12th. That's why all these drivers have got one position up, despite the fact that Jorge Jesus is still ahead of them. Now, new leader is Delphi Mora. That amazingly fast start is now starting to pay dividends. It was for 2nd place at the time, but Delphi Mora is now leading, and he's got 2 seconds gap over Darren Head. Up into 3rd goes Kev Allen, up into 4th goes Simon Allen, and Diogo Silva in 5th place with John Scott. Very nicely done there as well. First few laps, well, first couple of laps, we are still at the end of lap 2 out of 12, and things beginning to sort out a little bit now, but John Scott very nicely up there in 6th place, followed by Andrew Dalby, followed by Diogo Almeida to wait. Jorge Jesus has some work to do. He certainly has got the pace, as Andrew Dalby is closing in on John Scott. Jorge Jesus still in 9th place, but as these drivers battle, they're just losing a little bit of time, and he can take advantage. Look at Andrew Dalby. He must be under pressure now from Diogo Almeida. Yes, he is, and Diogo Almeida himself is now under pressure from, well, race leader, former race leader Jorge Jesus and winner of race 1, and Jorge is coming with everything. He's really got the pace. He had the fastest lap in race 1. This is Rob Oldham in 12th place, and Rob has lost a position to Gonçalo Mota. Oh, and look at this is Sid Waters. Sid Waters is running slowly, and he's given a tap in the back by Rob Oldham. Dear, Rob Oldham is not having the race that he wanted. He's now behind a very wide Sid Waters, and we saw other drivers in race 1 behind Sid Waters. He is very good defending his position. Jorge Jesus is attacking Andrew Dalby and Diogo Almeida, but of course these drivers are also quite fast. John Scott has actually managed to check out from this group, but it's a nice group nevertheless. 6, 7, 8, and 9 there. And I wonder if we're going to see more action as Diogo Silva in 5th place is starting to close in on Simon now, and Simon has lost a bit of steam there. In fact, both Simon and Diogo are now losing time to that group, the leading group, which is composed of Delphine Moura, who is already 3.2 seconds ahead of Darren Head. And Rob Oldham does retire the car. Rob Oldham retires the car, so no points for him in this second race. I wonder if another incident happened or if he just thought that nothing would get out of this race. No, George Lewis is going on. Diogo Almeida, that was a good move there. Good move there. He was side by side, and it's a very clean and decisive move. Oh, and Diogo Almeida spins now. Diogo Almeida spins is the problem with this car. If you just get a little bit overexcited, and he loses the position there for Gonçalo Mota. Oh, look at this! It's also Sid Waters up into 10th place. He was defending 10th place from the now retired Rob Oldham. And look at Scott Davely. He hasn't made any progress whatsoever. He's still in 13th. He is, however, very close to Peter Adrian, so we'll keep an eye on that battle, as Darren Head and Kev Allen, both very quick drivers in this car and circuit, are battling it out for 2nd place. Let's look at the gap. Look at the gap at the front. It has increased again, 4.4 seconds. Delphine Moura is running away with this race. We are still, well, a third of the way into this race, but Delphine Moura already making a statement. He does want to win, and he would be the 4th different winner in 4 races, as Dale Taylor, Simon Allen and George Zush have won the races so far. This is Scott Davely on Peter Adrian. This is the battle I was talking about, and they are also not that far behind Diogo Almeida. Diogo, of course, delayed after that spin. Scott Davely trying to get a few more points out of this race. Of course, the 2 worst results get discarded out of the 10 races in this championship, but still Scott Davely, we are used to him battling for at least the top 5, so a bit of a disappointment here to see him at the back of the grid. Rob Oldham has retired. Look, this is Andrew Dalby. Andrew Dalby is very close to George Jesus. In fact, George Jesus has just passed him, so this is more the case that Andrew was trying to come back at George. George Jesus in 6th place. Look at this, Andrew Dalby braking very late there, very deep on the brakes, trying to get that position back, but that unfortunately just lost him a bit more time. And George Jesus is going to challenge for a top 5 very soon indeed, as John Scott currently occupies that. Oh, and something has happened to Kev Allen. Yes, Kev Allen, I was wondering, because John Scott was in 6th, not in 5th. I'm not sure. Yes, this is what happened to Kev Allen. Oh, this is turn 2, and this is going to be the classic rotation. No, it's going to be the classic rotation in turn 3. Yes, it will, and just a little bit too much acceleration, and there's an immediate rotation. With such a tight field, you can't press the reset button. You have to come back to the track safely, and certainly Kev Allen has done so. However, it also means he's dropped to 8th place, so up into 3rd goes Simon Allen. Up into 4th goes Diogo Silva, having a better race, Diogo, than in race 1. Up into 5th is John Scott. George Jesus is in 6th place. Andrew Dalby is actually still very much... Is this a replay of George Jesus on Andrew Dalby? I believe it will be. He's a little bit too far behind, but let's see how he did the overtake. He's going to come here on the inside, and that was on contact between the 2 drivers, and then he also overtakes Kev Allen. So, well, rough move, but within the boundaries of the acceptable. Certainly it is an overtaking point, a bit of a dive, but opportunistic, shall we say, as Andrew Dalby. Now we understand what was going on. Andrew Dalby potentially trying to do a bit of a give back of the love tap he received from George. Nevertheless, George up into 6th place, Andrew Dalby in 7th, Kev Allen down into 8th place, 9th is Gonçalo Mota, 10th is Diogo Almeida, 11th is Sid Waters, and the battle for 12th is still going on between Peter Adrian in 12th and Scott Davely in 13th, but this is 1st and 2nd. The gap now actually under 4 seconds for the first time in a couple of laps. Lap 5, we're still not at the midpoint of this race. Nevertheless, well, there's still going on a battle for the lead. Oh, look at this, the gap is coming down. Let's look at the lap times, because I don't think Delphi Moura is going to make a very good time, and this is a replay of Jorge Jesus in 6th place. Well, he certainly... Oh, and this he spins! Oh no! Another mistake by race 1 winner Jorge Jesus is certainly going to put him in the back. As, look at this, everyone is going through there. Kev Allen and Andrew Dalby, and in fact Andrew Dalby under severe pressure from Kev Allen, and I think this is actually going to be the opportunity for Kev Allen to go incredibly up into 6th place, because he's recovered one position with George's spin, and now he's recovering another position on the outside there of Andrew Dalby. Andrew tries to defend, and they're running side by side through Stowe Corner. Now Kev has the inside line into the chicane, but still Andrew does. Oh, and he outbreaks himself. Oh, and Kev Allen spins. Kev Allen also outbreaks himself and spins. This is a good battle with a few mistakes. It's very difficult to battle wheel to wheel. Look at Gonçalo. Oh, Gonçalo is also losing it. Everyone seems to be losing it at this point of the race. Gonçalo is up into 7th. Andrew Dalby has recovered from outbreaking himself, and this is a few moments ago. Jorge Jesus has come back to the track. Jorge has come back to the track in front of Gonçalo Mota. Gonçalo is now trying to go on the outside of Stowe, and oops, no contacts. They run side by side, and oh, and this is how he's lost it. He's going to go here on the inside. Surely no, he's not. Oh, and Jorge Jesus is spinning again. Jorge Jesus, another mistake, the 3rd one in this race. And Gonçalo Mota also spins in, almost spins in sympathy. But, well, it's all changed in the midfield, because everyone just keeps spinning and running off the track. John Scott is still in 5th place. That's good news for him. 6th is Andrew Dalby. He has outbraked himself there at the last chicane, but he managed to keep the 4 wheels on the tarmac. 7th is Gonçalo Mota, that almost spun but didn't spin. 8th is Kev Allen, who spun. We saw him spinning here in turn 3. Followed by now Jorge Jesus in 9th, and all these drivers are still amazingly ahead of Diogo Almeida, who is in 10th place, but not that far ahead. 11th is Sid Waters, followed by Peter Adrian. Peter now very close to top 10 as well, not making any mistakes, and still quite a few laps to go. Look at this is Kev Allen on Gonçalo Mota, and Gonçalo Mota has overtaken Kev Allen. Gonçalo Mota is on the run here. Now they're going to run side by side through Copse. Can they do it? And the answer is, of course not, because there is no way the two cars are going to run side by side there without one of them going off track, and that was Kev Allen in this case, who remains in 8th place. Jorge Jesus is coming. Jorge Jesus is coming again. He lost... well, the bad news for Jorge Jesus is that even if he manages to overtake both these drivers, and they are certainly battling like there is no tomorrow, whilst we're still in the first half of the race technically, the bad news for Jorge Jesus is that... and then there's a contact between Kev Allen and Gonçalo Mota. Contact there between Kev Allen and Gonçalo Mota. Jorge Jesus goes and basically, well, is this a replay of what happened? Gonçalo Mota, well, difficult to run side by side there, and well, it was Kev that went slightly offline and just punted Gonçalo off the road, and Gonçalo now comes back into the track in 10th spot. Up into 9th goes Diogo Almeida, and I think the drivers that are really liking these are, well, the group at the front. John Scott already with 5 seconds of a gap ahead of Andrew Dalby in 6th, and also the drivers at the back. That's Sid Waters and Peter Adrian and Scott Davis, because they are getting very close to the battle for the top 10. and the 10th place is currently occupied by Gonçalo Mota. After that spin up into 9th, Diogo Almeida. Kev Allen in 8th place. He did lose a position to Jorge Jesus. Jorge Jesus is yo-yoing between the lead and the back. He's now in 7th. And as I was saying, the bad news for Jorge is that other drivers in front have lost almost no time, because Andrew Dalby hasn't really lost any time with these incidents, and he's currently 5 seconds ahead of Jorge, and John Scott has absolutely lost no time either, and he's sitting another 5 seconds ahead. So Jorge was in 7th. He's actually 10 seconds behind 5th, which is going to be a little bit tricky to recover in the remaining 5 laps. But look at this. This is well, Jorge is recovering, but also Kev Allen is recovering, and that's somewhat of a problem, because these drivers are very quick, both of them, but probably should just be lapping quick times in the next 3 to 4 laps to see if they can at least get to Andrew Dalby in 6th place. But instead they're battling like there is no tomorrow, and well, I'm not sure they'll be able to recover any positions from here unless they unless others make mistakes at the front, which is always possible with this car. Darren Head is 3.5 seconds behind Delphine Moura. Delphine continues to lead this race. Darren is actually quite close. Well, he's now 4 seconds. The last lap wasn't that good. 146.6 for race leader Delphine Moura, 147 flat for Darren Head. Simon Allen has lost steam, so did Diogo Silva. They're running on they're basically running the same time, lapping at the same pace. 148.0 for Simon, 147.9 for Diogo, so basically the same time, and they are around 10 seconds behind the 2 leaders. Kev Allen continues to battle with Jorge Jesus, and I have a strong suspicion that something is going to happen here. Either a mistake by one of the drivers or contact, because they do seem to be somewhat frustrated with the way the race has gone. Remember, these 2 drivers started on the front row of this race, and by lap 8 they are 7th and 8th. Oh, and yes, there you go, that's Jorge Jesus again. Jorge Jesus is now overdriving this Audi, and he just zigged where he should have zagged. He cannot press the reset button, and and contact there between Jorge Jesus and another contact between Sid Waters. And to be frank, Sid Waters had absolutely nowhere to go, and did quite a good job there avoiding the stationary car of Jorge Jesus, who is now dropping below the top 10. Look at this, he's just in the middle of the corner, and there comes Jorge Jesus. Well, he was trying to get out of the way, I think, but then he just spun again right into Sid's path. And this is Gonçalo Mota, and these 2 have had a bit of history already in this race, 11th and 12th. And well, the drivers in the front row are in 7th, that's Kev Allen, and Pole Position Man is in 11th. Gonçalo Mota, who was so strong in race 1, is sitting in 12th place, and they all are going to hope that this is one of the results that they draw, because we're now on lap 8, and the laps, they're running out of time to make an impression here. Oh, and Jorge Jesus is another mistake. Wow! It's the 5th mistake of Jorge Jesus after such a dominant performance in race 1. He's absolutely losing it. Absolutely losing it. This is a classic one here at Chapel Corner, at Beckett, sorry. Well, Jorge Jesus, I'm afraid to report, is sitting in last as it stands. He's in 13th spot. There's only one driver behind him, that's Rob Oldham, who has retired. And well, Rob Oldham, by the way, by this stage would be in like 8th place if he had continued. So probably shows that however bad your race is going, the best thing to do is to just keep going, because especially with this car and with tire wear, which is not insignificant in the second race, you may actually end up in a good position. Because 12 laps is a long time, it's about 20 minutes. In fact, it's calibrated to be the number of laps which will generate a race just over 20 minutes. And the two drivers at the front are, well, basically the same time again. Well, there's a minor difference of like 30 thousandths of a second, that's 300ths of a second between them in the last lap, with Delphi Mora going to finish lap 9, complete lap 9, followed by Darren Head. Oh, look at this is Simon Allen. What has happened to Simon Allen? Nothing has happened to Simon Allen. He is struggling a little bit, but Diogo Silva is not making a big impression there. He's not managing to close that gap. It has been 2 seconds for the longest time. John Scott is doing a great race in 5th spot. Look at this is Kev Allen, followed by Andrew Dalby, and this is a few moments ago. Andrew Dalby must have had some sort of problem because he was running. Yes, he had some sort of problem. Will he be able to press the reset button? The answer is no. He does recover quite quickly, but there's going to be Kev Allen, and that's nice to see Andrew Dalby actually looking in his mirrors and seeing that Kev is there and giving him space. That's very good to see, because one of the issues in Old Fox Racing PlayStation is still drivers rejoining the track occasionally, not looking where they're going. The reset button is still allowed. It does create some issues, although this is rare. I cannot remember the last one I've seen when drivers press the reset button only to be bang on the racing line and hit by another driver. Not sure if at some point the reset button rule is going to be revisited, but for now, as long as the game allows you to press the reset button. Oh, look at this, side by side there, side by side, that's behind, that's Scott Davely and Jorge Jesus. Peter Adrian is running 12th, and he was behind Scott Davely, so Scott actually managed to overtake oh, this was not Scott Davely and George Luz, it was Peter Adrian and George Luz, and look at that, that was a little bit forceful there, and Peter Adrian, rightly so, wants to keep that position, and where is George Luz? He's behind. Let's look at the replay, because I'm not really sure. Well, Peter was losing momentum, so I'm not sure if this runs right now, and George Luz is surely going to go into, oof. Well, Peter Adrian with very heavy defending there. He was off the track and then came back into the track. I think that we are seeing two drivers that, well, it did look a bit worse in the first instance. I think Peter was quite cautious coming back onto the track. However, it's tricky to come back into the track there, because there's always another driver who is in the racing line. The racing line is not necessarily in the apex, and now George Luz is going to go for it, and they're going to, unsurprisingly, contact with each other once again, and well, this is certainly becoming very enjoyable, but they're just losing all sorts of pieces of their car. Particularly Peter Adrian has a very light version of it's a very light version of the Audi R8. Well, hard racing there at the back. At the end, George Luz did get the position in 12th. They seemed very determined to not let each other through, and I think, just say, let the boys race. I think that was hard, but healthy enough. Let's say. Oh, this is Diogo Silva. What happened to Diogo Silva? You almost lost it there, Diogo Silva in 4th place. Oh, and the Simon Allen has lost it. Simon Allen has lost it on lap 10. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Faultless race for Simon Allen. Only to spin here in the classic turn 2. Just too much acceleration. Too much wheel spin on the back wheels. And there goes Diogo Silva into a podium position. And Diogo Silva clearly having a better race than in race 1 where he finished 9th. And up into the podium, which could actually become his first podium of the season in race number 4. He's not enjoying this car that much. Remember, since Old Fox Racing PlayStation has moved to single car championships, Diogo Silva has won both championships with the Ginetta G50 and then the Ford GTE. Well, he's going to have to work a bit harder if he wants to win this one, because he's not really up there. Nevertheless, he is going to score a good result if he can hang on in the last two laps of this race. Let's see here what we are looking at. That's Andrew Dalby. Andrew Dalby has been under pressure from pretty much every lap of this race. But he's done a magnanimous job defending and keeping himself in a good position. 7th place, sorry, because up into 6th is Caval, and Cav has been yo-yoing between the front and the back as well. But now in the look at this, Andrew Dalby running very wide there at Cops Corner. Fortunately, no penalties in this particular race, and people generally respecting the track limits, except when they run wide or they try to run side by side in places where really you can't run side by side. George Jesus, what a terrible race he's having. 12th place, he's not in last, because that position now belongs to Peter Adrian. Scott Davely, I'm glad to report, has managed to retain that 11th place. Up into 10th is Gonçalo Mota, and look at this, this is Diogo Almeida. Yes, it's Diogo Almeida trying to, is the man that is trying to put pressure on Andrew Dalby. Andrew Dalby a bit all over the place there at the chicane with tire wear, and really difficult to battle wheel to wheel with this car. It's not easy to outbrake another driver with this car, and we do have to revisit the raceability of this particular combo. Anyway, that's what people have voted as. Gonçalo Mota now in the closing stages is under pressure from Scott Davely, who might still salvage, incredibly. Oh, and look at this, Gonçalo Mota has outbraked himself and Scott Davely. Now the consistency is starting to pay off for Scott. Scott up into 10th place, but there's another driver who is challenging for 10th place. That is Jorge Jesus. And Gonçalo Mota's mistake was a very expensive one, because he basically dropped 2 positions. Now he's all over the place. This is, well, oh, and now contact with Jorge Jesus. But I mean, to be fair, Gonçalo was abusing the track limits, to put it mildly. I mean, he basically did the first corner completely flat out, and this is the race leader. What's happening to the race leader? He's starting his last lap, or is he completing the race, or is he going to make a mistake? Yes, he's going to make a mistake. Drama at the end. Can Darren Head go ahead? Can Darren Head go ahead? No, he can't, as Delphi Moura. Oh, Delphi is going to spin again. No! And this time for sure he's going to lose. Oh, Darren Head is the new leader. 2 successive mistakes by Delphi Moura. He did recover from the first, but the second was too much, and now it's just 1 lap to go, and Darren Head is going to be the winner if he can stay on the track. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And I think Delphi Moura is going to look back at that mistake, and he's not going to be happy about it at all, as he led most of this race. He was going to win his first win of the season, and now it's going to be Darren's first win of the season if it all goes well. And it's going to be again 4 different drivers winning the first 4 races. Simon Allen is getting back at Diogo Silva. Does he have the time is the question. Andrew Dalby continues to defend from Diogo Almeida. He still has the time, because he's really behind Diogo. He's really behind Andrew Dalby. Sorry, Diogo is behind Andrew Dalby. Lap 12 out of 12, and the race is going to finish with a bit of drama. This is George Jesus on Scott Davely, and Scott is defending like there is no tomorrow, and in this case there's really not going to be any tomorrow because we are on the last lap. And nicely done there by Scott, actually good defending. He gave room to George, but he made sure that his car was on the ideal line, and now he doesn't have to defend here again. In the same thing, he's in the ideal line, but he just shuts the door. And I think George probably is going to have 2 or 3 overtaking points still. The first one is coming here at Cops. Well, it's not a real overtaking point, is it? But Darren Head is going to win. Is only going to lead 1 lap, but for sure it's the most important lap to lead. And Darren Head takes the checkered flag and wins race 2, round 2. Here at Silverstone, followed by Delphi Mora. Second place, but he could have won it. Third is going to be Diogo Silva, his first podium of the season. Finally, a good result for him. Fourth is going to be Simon Allen. He's going to be disappointed with that spin late on in the race. Fifth is going to be John Scott, probably driver of the day, makes no mistakes, and very good performance indeed. Sixth is going to be Kev Allen, who yo-yoed between the front and the back, ends up in the middle. Seventh is going to be Andrew Dalby or Diogo Almeida. I think it's going to be Andrew Dalby. Yes, Andrew Dalby. Ooh. Is this a photo finish situation here? I think Andrew is going to get it, isn't he? Yes, he is going to get it. 8 is going to be Diogo Almeida. 9 is going to be Sid Waters, another driver that didn't make any mistakes whatsoever, and good result in the end. 10th is going to be Jorge Jesus from pole position. Multiple mistakes. He's not going to be happy and hope that he's going to drop this result at the end of the season. Oh, he made a mistake. Oh my. Photo finish situation for the top 10, as I think that George got it, didn't he? Ooh, to the line, and you won't see a closer finish than this. Where's the line? The line is coming. The line is coming. It's Gonçalo Mota, I believe that. Well, it's basically that heat. It is Gonçalo Mota in 9th place. I have never seen such a small gap in Old Fox Racing PlayStation. There's the confirmation of the result. Well, it says 10th place for Jorge Jesus, but we'll see about that in the admin meeting. Anyway, this was the coverage from round 2, race 2. Thank you very much for watching, and bye bye.